I've been having a ton of fun playing the Dorugoramon and DexDorugoramon deck, and the best thing is, it's one of my favorite Digimon. Thanks to BT17, we got a Dex version of these cards where we can power up the deck and provide protection which can digivolve from the trash. The main idea of the deck is to utilize collision or taunt your opponent's Digimon having Dorugoramon, which lets you then digivolve into either of your level 6s for free. And once you get into Dorugoramon or DexDorugoramon, you can remove important pieces on your opponent's side to gain advantages throughout the course of the game. There's been a hot topic on which version is actually better, whether you should be playing the black base or purple base. So to settle the debate once and for all, let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons for both, starting with the purple base. Purple base mainly consists of Lugamon, Bowmon, and Tyrannomon, which gives you access from the trash for resource. It provides great consistency and quick setup to help you access your Mind Link Tamers, which is one of the most important things about the deck, regardless of which color base you're running. Bowmon gives you fantastic reliability as you climb up your Digivolution stack. So I gathered recent tournament data, both small and large, where we can actually see that purple base has topped more compared to black. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's just outright better, because I believe there's actually a deeper analysis as that we can look into to see why is that the case. But for those who want a reference, this is what the purple base deck list would look like. Despite the statistics, and to give you guys the answer right away, I personally still prefer playing the black base overall. And you might be wondering why. But that's not just because I'm a Dorugoramon fan myself. In a competitive perspective, the black base actually has a ton of tools to deal with a variety of matchups for the current meta. The main rookie of this line is the BT16 Dorugoramon that synergizes with Kosuke. Different to Lugamon though, you have to specifically tuck it underneath from your hand, which has limited access. But by tucking it underneath, you're gonna have protection aside from deletion, meaning it's very good counter against any blue form decks such as Ancient Gar, Imperial, and Mirage to prevent any bouncing from happening. Despite not being as efficient when it comes to searching compared to the purple base, this deck actually has a lot of draw power, and that mainly comes from the Dorugoramon egg, as you want to mind link in and out with your Kosuke to draw turn after turn. Also, both Cool Boy and Yuji gives you memory gain and draw power, which further amplifies it. And because of Cool Boy, comboing it with the BT9 DexDorugoramon gives you even more memory to work with. And why is that important? Well, that is because you sometimes want to get into your Dorugoramon in your own turn and swing with collision so you can go straight into your Dorugoramon without passing turn. And the other major reason is so that you can play additional cards to set up for your second follow-up stack. And that leads into my game plan of establishing the first stack out, and once it gets removed, we're ready to push out our second one with optimal pieces in there, so then we can go for a clapback, which also helps us keep up the momentum throughout the course of the game. The BT7 Dorugoramon gives you additional search, and with its memory gaining inheritable, lets you make clutch combos. The BT9 Dorugoramon is for pitch and draw, helping you set up cards that you want in the trash. And the BT17 Agumon gives you additional resources as you mind link out with Kosuke at the end of turn. Sephirothmon provides additional taunts aside from just relying on Dorugamon, but also hybrid for game. Aside from the 4 BT16 Dorugoramons, I still like to run the BT7 one for additional protection and damage with security +1. DexDorugoramon for clutch self-deletion combos with its inherited effect, and surprisingly, this is a card I like to keep in my hand more so than have it in trash from my playing experience. Megadramon is a fantastic secondary level 5 which has SOC synergy in cycling through your deck and setting up cards, and gives you that inherited de-digivolve so that you can play around aces. For level 6s, I'm running 4 Dorugoramons and 3 DexDorugoramons as they provide you a ton of removal and control, and they're your main tools to beat down your opponents alongside with their unsuspending effects. And to top it all off, I have 1 Shine Greymon Ruin Mode just because it can potentially buy you 2 turns and you can win off of it. For Tamers, Kosuke is the reason why I highly value the black base, and I want to see it as much as possible because of its piercing. Pairing it with collision applies damage in the early stages of the game, which is incredibly important to help you set up for the game lethal swinging combo, which I'll show you guys afterwards. Despite the deck being black base, AG is still a fantastic tamer in giving you additional memory to work with and alliance damage as the secondary SOC tamer. There's a standard defense training for Search and with Proto Form to help reduce Digivolution costs as we climb up. Final Zubagon Punch is one of my personal favorite tech options for this deck because it has won me so many games as I surprise my opponents with burst damage out of nowhere. I also absolutely love Calling from Darkness, not only to recur cards back from the trash, but it also lets me proactively delete my Dorugoramon so I can turn it into a DexDorugoramon when I attempt to delete it myself. My overall recommendation is to give both versions a try to get a feel for yourself on which playstyle you like more. And if you're a new player looking to pick up this deck, I actually would recommend you to start off with the purple base and familiarize yourself with the top end combos. Once you get the hang of it, then try out the black base because it does have a lot of one-off tech choices and tools which expands the variety and complexity of how you play the deck. For tech choices and other cards that you guys can also splash into the black base version of the deck, there's the BT17 Dorugoramon, which gives you the warping capability and reboot additionally with its inheritable. The Airdramon and Marvin Jackson package gives you additional de-digivolving, and with Marvin Jackson being an alternative SOC tamer, you can also mind link underneath to give your stack early jamming for chip damage. Black Memory Boost also gives you even more search and memory gain. If you're looking for an alternative for a proto form, the original BT9X antibody can work just as well, as it gives you access to digivolve while you're attacking. Aside from that, there's DefX Digivolution, which lets you digivolve your Dex versions directly from trash so that you can utilize the full-on effects of all of them. For Ace counterplays, you can also include Vikemon and Mega Gargomon Ace. You can also run DefX for whiteboard removals and Metal Impulse to delete singular stacks. Alright, combos and how to play this deck. It is a stack-based build deck after all, so you're trying to climb up to your line 3, 4s, 5, and into your 6 eventually to start controlling the board. So if you want to find those pieces, you want to digivolve up, early stages finding your 3s and your 4s. If not, you want to set up your Tamers, Kosuke, Yuji, Cool Boy, or defense training to help you search and fetch those pieces, and you want to be able to draw as much as possible because you want to synergize alongside with your Dorugoramon. Sometimes it's okay to let your opponent chip at your security because part of your early game plan, it provides you additional setup pieces for a very massive clapback. You know, if they go into your security, you can find your Kosuke, and that's immediate value alongside with AG, any of your trainings, Cool Boys, or even any cards that you can just grab off of it. The one thing to keep in mind when playing this deck is that it scales very hard into the late game, and often enough, you're going to draw so many cards, you have the entire deck in your hand with all the different tools at your disposal to go for the game-winning plays. So for combo number 1, you want to have access to some form of 2 memory, whether if you have a defense training at 1 memory, that works as well. But let's just say you have here, starting at 2, you're going to push out with Dorugoramon and use its starter main to tuck a Kosuke from your hand underneath it to draw a card with Dorugoramon, and also gaining the protection aside from deletion. Then digivolving into Dorugoramon for 2 costs so that you can pitch a card from your hand. Usually cards you want to target and throw away are going to be your Dex versions because it's going to give you the protection to set up for later plays. If not, anything that is 5 costs or less is also really good just because you intend to play them back via Dorugoramon's inherited effect later on. So these are some of the cards that you can always play back from trash if you don't have the Dex versions in your hand. Next, you're going to taunt your opponent's Digimon because you do have an SOC tamer underneath it, and that's going to make them attack at the starter main, and which is then where you will end the turn by passing your opponent to 3 or however little memory as possible by going into Dorugoramon. Keeping the Kosuke underneath at this moment is really important because you want to make sure that you have blocker as well as having the SOC tamer to enable your Dorugoramon combo straight into your 6. Your opponent's going to attack with their taunted Digimon at the starter main, and you're going to block with Dorugoramon. Once you block with Dorugoramon, you get to go straight into Dorugoramon for free, digivolving into it. When you digivolve, you also get to delete a unsuspended tamer or Digimon that they have on the board. Afterwards, you can unsuspend. Dorugoramon is going to let you play your 5 cost or less X antibody or SOC trade cards from the trash. You can play Dorumons or your level 3s to search and continue to do on-play effects. You can even play Dorugoramon to continue to cycle a little bit. You can even play your tamers as long as it's SOC and 5 costs or below as well to continuously gain value afterwards. So for combo number 2, you want to have access to at least 3 memory at the beginning of your turn, whether if you have Kosuke to start you off with that, or you can have Cool Boy and defense training combination and have 1 memory. The whole idea is to showcase how you can climb all the way from your 3 to your 6 in this single turn and proactively utilize collision into your favor to clear stuff on your opponent's side. With that, you want to push out Dorugoramon, and Dorugoramon's going to attack under Kosuke at the starter main with mind linking so that you can gain protection and draw 1 with Dory. Next, you want to use defense training to digivolve into Dorugoramon for free. And just like before, as I explained from combo number 1, cards you want to be tossing away is either your Dex cards to set up in trash or 5 costs or less SOC so you can intend to play it back afterwards with Dorugoramon. But just before we go into Dorugoramon, you're also going to be taunting one of your opponent's Digimon, so the more they have, the better it is for you because you can clear multiple things in that one single go. And I want to show you guys how really cool it is to the inclusion of the DexDorugoramon from BT9 alongside with Cool Boy combo, which gives you all that memory you need to continue to make this play. Digivolve for 0, suspend, gain a memory, and draw a card. DexDorugoramon is going to toss away something that's X antibody, and you want to toss away something that's Dex or anything that can play back like I mentioned earlier to also gain a memory, but also blocker and retaliation until the end of your opponent's turn. And here you're going to be at 3 memory, so then you can go access into your Dorugoramon, making sure that your opponent has a unsuspended Digimon. This is where you're going to swing with the Dorugoramon and collision with it so that you can redirect the attack, and because of that you get to digivolve for free into Dorugoramon. Dorugoramon is going to delete an unsuspended tamer or another Digimon, and because of that you also get to unsuspend and play something back out, which would be a Dorugoramon here, and again tossing away another card that you want to set up for later on and continue to draw. You're also going to pierce for 1 damage, and if your opponent has another unsuspended Digimon at this point, this is where you can consider to go for a collision, swing it again and attack into them after controlling your opponent's board and clearing as much as possible and putting them down to 4 or fewer security. This is then when you want to set up for the potential lethal combo in the following turn to finish the game off. Ideally, passing the turn with UG is totally fine, or you can find ways to give your opponent as little memory as possible to work with if you have UG established already on the board, and don't forget at the end of the turn to mind link Kosuke back out. At this moment during your opponent's turn, remember that you have protection from anything that will leave the battle area aside from deletion. If you ever would get deleted, this is when you can have access into your DexDorugoramon to protect your Dorugoramon from being deleted, and then you can continue to clear your opponent's board as well. And don't forget about the blocker and retaliation it has if your Dorugoramon was standing to begin with. So for combo number 3 is a follow-up of combo number 2 after the turn. This is where potentially your opponent be at 4 or fewer security, and you can actually try to attempt to finish the game thanks to all these one-off tech cards, which I'll show you how to. So of course, you're going to start your turn at 3, and you're going to hatch. Whether if you want to digi over the back is totally up to you at this moment. You want to mind link Kosuke to give piercing, and also getting a draw 1 with Dorugoramon. If your opponent has 2 Digimon on the board, or at least 1 Digimon, this is perfect because all you have to do is just go final Zubogon punch for 2, swing over 1, collision, pierce over it. At this moment, Dorugoramon is at least 14k. With the final Zubogon, it will meet the threshold being at 17, pierce for 2 checks, and then you get to unsuspend and play something back out. Your opponent will be down to 2 security, swing for the other 2, clearing all out, and then finish it off with Dorugoramon. This is just one of the many different ways that you can finish off your opponents. Aside from just using final Zubogon punch, you can still have UG alongside with Dorugoramon to give security +1, or you can even utilize DexDorugoramon, which I really like. So for example, this time, let's just say we tuck AG underneath here, and then you want to attack with Dorugoramon. You can alliance with Dorugoramon alongside and suspend UG to put DexDorugoramon underneath. Afterwards, that's going to be 2 checks. And then at the end of attack, this is how you use DexDorugoramon's effect to delete one of your own Digimon. And then you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Because the Digimon is deleted, you get to unsuspend once again. And Dorugoramon, inheritable, since you did delete a Digimon via this Digimon's effect, you can play the same Dorugoramon back out, trash a card, draw 1, and then alliance for another 2 checks right here again to either finish the game off. And in this situation, if your opponent still has a Digimon on the board, for example, you can even use Calling from Darkness, which I mentioned earlier in deck profile, to delete your own Dorugoramon, but you can go into DexDorugora to prevent it from deleting, grab stuff back from trash as well, and then you're going to de-digivolve your opponent's board and pop something, and you get to unsuspend and again make another 1 more hit as well. Don't forget to get your very own copy of the Star Shooter playmat and memory marker on the AVAULT store right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video. It is AVAULT signing out.